This conference will now be recorded.
So today, for however long it takes you all, because you won't get any points until this is done, you've got to go through and fill this joint product and activity-based costing problem out. These are the assumptions of what we're making: ink, paper, labor rate, selling price, labor hours, machine hours, your overhead that's given. Notice I did not give you the labor hours, so I want you to calculate those so that everybody knows how to do that. Except for the overhead, everything in here is quantity, and so you have to multiply. And in this problem, because we are selling multiple products, we are going to need journal entries and T accounts, one for the company, and then we're going to need one for each book that we're making. So are we ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so to calculate labor hours, Professor, I don't know how to do that part.
Well, somebody else better be able to do it, because I'm not doing anything today. Just complete the writing.
Okay, so we ain't gonna do that today, Professor.
I know. Well, you got to 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
After this.
All right, so
The principal students told me they were more time to work. They were dedicated. They didn't know anything, but they were dedicated.
that's all that matters.
They complained that they didn't have enough time. They told me to put y'all on.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so basically, the labor hours, how we're going to get that is we're going to add up all the labor hours, right? So we're going to start off with principals. And how we get that is, let me make sure I'm saying the right thing. Boom, 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 boom. We divided.
Oh, okay. Don't we just multiply or divide the quantity to be produced by the labor productivity rate? Professor?
I'm speechless.
Okay, so we need 20,000.
No, I know. Hold on. I know how to do this. Hold on.
Oh yeah, we take.
No,
Okay,
you can keep going. You can keep going.
Yeah, we take the quantity of 20,000 and we divide that by $10 per hour for the first one.
You do it by 10 books per hour.
10 books per hour, yes.
Thank you, Shakana.
Yes. So principals.
So yeah, for principals, the quantity is 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to divide that by how many books we have per hour.
Because they're able to make more than one book per hour.
Okay, so from there we get 2,000 for principals. So we're going to do the same thing with intermediate, and we're going to get 3,000. And then we're going to do the same thing for advanced, and we're going to get 10,000.
And then for tax, we're going to multiply the quantity by the productivity rate because it takes them 2 hours to do one book. So it will be 10,000 for that.
Okay.
That gives a total of 20.
And that together is 25,000. All right.
Machine hours.
And then the machine hours.
Forget about the machine hours.
You said forget about
Okay.
it? Okay, good.
Yeah, forget about them.
Okay, good, because I forgot about that.
Okay,
all right.
good. Machine hours.
So
Okay.
we're good. For part one, we're just gonna fill in what we have. So what we have is they gave us the manufacturing overhead, which is 200,000, and then the labor hours right here was 25,000. So that's gonna be a total of 25,000, right? All right. And then we have to find out activity rate.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to find the activity rate, you have to divide. You have to go back up a little bit. And you have to divide labor productivity by the labor rate, right?
You divide the manual overhead by the total.
Yeah, bring
Yeah,
those, bring 2,000, all those labor hours down to the labor hours to the bottom. I mean, that's well to the next stage on B. The 2,000, 3,000, and 10,000.
Okay. So they gave us the manufacturing overhead was 200,000. Principal's labor rate was 2,000. Intermediate was 3,000. Advanced was 10,000. And tax was 10,000.
We divide the
Okay.
manufacturing overhead by the total labor hours to get the activity rate, which is 8.
So you said the labor rate divided by labor productivity?
The total
Manual
manufacturing
overhead.
that was given by the total labor hours that we calculated.
So you
Right.
divide 200,000 divided by 25,000 to get 8.
And that's for all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. I'm going to go down a little bit more. Okay. All right. So number 3.
You multiply.
We're going to multiply
First one,
1
16.
times 2. So it's going to be 16,000. This is going to be 24,000. This is going to be 80,000. All right. And then the quantity at the top, the quantity for principals was 20,000.
15.
The quantity was 15,000. And advance was 10,000. So they all got different quantities. Interesting. Okay. All right, number 5. So what we're going to do for number 5 is we're going to divide line 3 and 4. And that's going to get us 80.8.
Mm-hmm.
4.8, yeah.
Okay.
And then 1.6 for the next one.
And then 1.6. And then
8. And then 16.
all right. move down a little bit. And then now we're going, okay, all right.
I can tell it to you if you don't have it in front of you.
Okay. So now we gotta find the calculation of the unit product cost, selling price, and the predetermined overhead rate. So if we go back up to the assumptions, we're gonna see how much the ink costs. So the ink for principals is $20 for one. The ink for intermediate is $20 for two. Advanced is $20 for three, and tax is $20 for four. All right. This is so complex. I'm trying to control this computer. Damn. Okay, so for ink, for principals, it's gonna be $20. For intermediate, it's gonna be $40. For advanced, $60, and tax is $80. And that's where we got the numbers from. And if we go back up, we see that the paper is 1 for 10 for principals, intermediate 2 for 10, advanced 2 for 10, and tax is 3 for 10. So we're gonna go back down. So that's gonna
Hey, do you want a taco salad? Cece's gonna make it. Okay.
1, 2, 30. And we found out the labor in the chart above, if y'all remember. The labor was 0.8, 1.6, 8, and 16. So we're gonna put 0.8.
Yeah, that's 1. It's supposed to be 1.
Oh, my bad. I'm at the wrong one. Oh, I skipped a step. Okay. The labor, we're supposed to divide the, right? Hold on. Let me go back up.
Yeah, you have to
Okay,
divide
The amount of hours.
the labor productivity and
so
the labor.
for labor, we have to divide the labor productivity rate and the labor rate. So for principals, 10 divided by 10 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 10 divided by 1. What was that one? 10? 1?
Yeah, 10 divided. Oh,
and
10 divided by 1 is 10, and then now when you have to multiply because it's 10 hours per book. That's gonna be 16.
20.
I'm sorry, 20. Ooh, where's the 16?
Okay. So we're gonna go back down, and we're gonna put those numbers in. So we got 1,
2, 10, 20,
10, and
20.
20 or 5? Oh, 20.
It's 20 because we have to multiply.
5 times.
Okay, cool. All right. So for the overhead, we found that out in the above. Sorry.
Can you record this?
It is recorded.
So this is the unit overhead: 1.8, 1.6, 8, and 16 that we already found out. So then we're gonna go back down and put that in our chart. So it's gonna be 0.8, 1.6, 8, and 16. Okay, so for the total unit cost,
Add all those numbers up.
we're gonna add all these numbers up, and this number is 31. For intermediate, we got 63.6. For advanced, we have 88.1.
No, we have
And
something.
for
98.
We redid it yesterday.
98.
98.1.
No
I'll
point.
take the 0.1 off.
Oh, just 98.
It's 98.
Yeah,
I
changed
got it.
yesterday. And this
All
one's
right.
gonna be 46.
146.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And so that we multiply them, the price multiple 2, 3, 3, and 4 from above in the assumptions.
All right. And then we're going to multiply those two.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get 6.
190.80. 294. And 584.
No 0.3.
I don't know why I keep on. Okay.
And that one 584.
All
right, and the predetermined overhead rate is the same thing as the activity rate, which is 8 all across.
Okay. All right, let me scroll down. Now for the journal entries. Okay. All right. Oh, no, wrong one. We're going to start off with the principles. Okay, so principles. We're going to.
I think we should do the company first, because that's what we did yesterday, and I see Boyd giving us a look. So for the first one, the transaction of buying ink for the whole company would be okay, so the company purchased 110,000 units of ink, and if you scroll up you don't have to scroll up, but if you were to scroll up, you would see that it shows you that's how much the company bought, and it costs $20 each for ink. So we're going to make a journal entry for the purchase of the ink. So we would credit raw materials ink and debit accounts payable of $2,200,000.
You said 200?
Yeah, $2,200,000.
Alrighty.
Okay, and then for the paper, it tells us up above that they bought 90,000 units of paper as a company. So we take so 90,000 multiplied by the amount that 1 unit of paper costs, which is $10, will give us $900,000. So we debit raw materials, paper, and then we credit accounts payable.
$900,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then to get the actual overhead as a company, if you were to scroll up, you would see that he gave us the number of $210,000. So what we do is multiply that number by the total labor hours that we got above of $25,000, which should give us, just make sure I say that. No, that's not right. Okay, 1 second. Oh wait, that is right. That is right. So we just bring down actually the overhead that it was given to us, because he already calculated for it. So he gave us the overhead of $210,000 for the company. So we would just debit manufacturing overhead and credit cash to represent the amount that we spent on overhead. Looking good, Boyd?
Looking good so far. Almost messed up. It's looking good now.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to skip the part that says over or under, because we have to do the rest of the assignment to actually figure out what we were over or under for our manufacturing overhead. So then we're going to start doing our journal entries for principals, and then the same for intermediate, advanced, and tax, and then do our T accounts along the way. So the first journal entry for principals, if you scroll above, he gives us the amount that each book bought in paper and ink, their labor hours. So that we're going to take those numbers and then use our assumptions to get the journal entry. So the first one of transfer of ink transfer of ink. They bought 20,000 units of ink, and the ink cost $20 each. So that's how we got $400,000. And we're going to debit work in process principals and raw materials ink. And the reason why we're putting, labeling them is because we have a whole T chart for principals, a whole T chart for advanced. So we label it to be able to tell the difference later. The next purchase for principals was that they bought 20,000 units of paper. Paper costs $10 for each unit. So then they're going to spend $200,000 on paper. We're going to debit work in process principals and credit raw materials paper. Okay, should I put these the T charts now, or should I do the whole principles first?
Do them now.
Okay, so if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see all the T charts we have. We have some that they share, and then some that they all have their own separate T accounts. So first we're going to make a T account. We're going to post to the ledger our company journal entries. So first, under Raw Materials Inc., we bought $2,200,000 on the debit side worth of ink for the entire company. And then on the credit side, so far, we would put principals spent $400,000 on ink. So on the left side would be what the company bought, and on the right side would be what each book bought. And so if we go to the paper one, we spent $900,000 as a company on paper. And then so far, principals has spent $200,000, has transferred $200,000 of that into their factory or whatever. Okay, so the next entry that we need to make, we covered the raw materials for both. And now we need to cover the manufacturing overhead that we did for the company. So we're going to scroll down to manufacturing overhead. There's no T chart for cash because it's not relevant for these statements. All right, and we're going to debit the $210,000 that was given to us earlier in the document. And then, like I said before, we would credit cash in another TA chart, but it's not relevant for the document, so we don't have it. And then I guess we can continue with the rest of the journal entries for principals. Okay, so what record and labor means that he wants us to calculate how much we paid our workers. So we're going to debit work in process for principals. And then we're going to debit cash because we pay our workers in cash. And this is stage 2, I believe. Okay, so to figure out the amount that we paid our workers, if you scroll up a little bit, you'll see that he told us our workers for the principal's book had 2,200 labor hours. We're going to multiply that number by the amount that they were paid. So 2,200, multiplied by 10 is going to give us the amount to go there, which is $2,200. All right, and then the next journal entry where it says applied manufacturing overhead, we would debit work in process for the principals, and we were going to credit the manufacturing overhead. And this is to see the amount of overhead that we have compared to the amount that we got for the whole company. And then, so to get this number, if you were to scroll up, you would see that we will multiply the POR, or the activity rate, by the labor hours. Let me make sure I'll tell you that. Yes, so we will multiply the actual labor hours, which is 2,200, by our activity rate of 8 to get 17,600. Okay, and for the next one, we would do a transfer of finished goods. The way that that journal entry is going to look, it's going to be a debit for finished goods principals and a credit for work in process. Oh, wait a second. We have to do our T-charts to get this number. So to see this number, to see how we got this number, we would have to go and post our journal entries for the labor and the applied manufacturing overhead to see how to get that number. So go down to the T-charts, and then we would go to the work in process principles T-chart and complete that to get the number that we need. Okay. So in that T-chart, work in process principles, we're going to put the debit that matches the credit that we put in the raw materials T-chart up above. So they had a debit of $400,000 for the ink. A debit of $200,000 for the paper. They had $2,200 for the actual labor hours they paid the workers. And then they had a manufacturing overhead of $17,600. And the way that we would get the credit side of that, first we would look at their original expected amount to be made, which is listed in the assumptions as 20,000 units. So we're going to compare the amount that they were supposed to make to the amount that they actually made. And to find the amount that they actually made, we would go to where we got the other numbers that he gave us. And it shows us that they completed 18,000 books. So they were supposed to make 20,000. They completed 18,000 books, which is 80% of the amount of books that they were supposed to. So what we do is we compare the debit to the credit side at 80%. So we're going to keep the 2,200 because they already paid the workers. So the 2,200 and the 17,600 are going to stay the same because they paid the workers already. They just didn't complete the amount of books they were supposed to complete. And those numbers are going to be for the paper. For the ink, they used $360,000 worth of the ink that they bought and $180,000 worth of the paper that they bought, which totals up to $579,600, which is the number that we needed that I mentioned up above. The difference between that is $60,000. And what we do here to start the next journal entry is we take that $579,600 and we drag that over to the finished goods T-chart for principals as their debit. So whatever their credit was is going to now be their debit on the finished goods side, which is $579,600. Okay, so the next step is to find their actual unit cost. So we had their unit cost that they estimated, but to get their actual unit cost, we're going to divide the $579,600 by the amount of books they actually completed. So if we take $579,600 and we divide it by the 18,000 that they actually made, you would get $32.20. Yes, and then so for the other side, now we're going to compare that number to the amount that they sold. So up above, next to the other numbers that he gave us, he tells us that he sold 15,000 books. So we're going to put 15,000 there, multiply 15,000 by our new unit cost to get $483. Okay, so with this given information, we can now complete the journal for the principals. A lot of extra credit, right, Boyd?
A lot of extra credit.
Okay. Okay, so back to the journal entries for the principals. We stopped at the transfer of the materials to the finished goods. We're going to debit finished goods principals. Yes, so we're going to debit finished good principals. And if you look at the T chart, it says the number of 579,600. That matches that. And then the next step we're going to do is calculate the sale that they did. So what we need to do is debit cash and credit sales. And to get the number of the amount that they have for sales, we're going to multiply the amount that they sold, the 15,000, by their selling price that we calculated way at the beginning. Which is
63.6, or is it 63 point?
I think it was 60.
Okay.
And that's going to give us 954. All right, and the next journal entry that we have to make that Boyd did not put on our template would be the transfer of cost of goods sold and finished goods. So we're going to make another journal entry where we debit cost of goods sold and debit finished goods principals. So this would be stage 5. All right, and to get the cost of goods sold and the finished goods principals, we're going to scroll down to the bottom of our T chart because we already calculated the cost of goods for principals. Which was 483. And I guess while you're right there, we need to match that credit with the debit of 483 in cost of goods sold T chart so that everyone has a match. And that's where we got the 483 from the finished goods T chart in the credit side.
What are these subtracted again?
No, that's what it is. We just put wait, let me make sure. Yeah, we just put 483 because it's already there.
No, I meant subtracted 579,600 and 483 for the when we do the statement.
Oh, you're calculating the difference between those two?
Yeah. Is it 96? 96.
It's 96. Wait, let me, that doesn't look right. 96,600.
All right, back up we go.
Yeah, so we finished the whole process for principals, and now we're going to repeat the same thing for intermediate, the journals and T-charts, same thing for advanced journals and T-charts, and same thing for tabs. Okay, so for our tax, the first journal entry we're going to make is the purchase of our ink and the purchase of our paper. So the paper cost 20 and they had 30,000 of them, which gives them $600,000 worth of ink. So we're going to credit work in process and debit raw materials ink. Of $600,000. Okay, and they bought 30,000 units of paper. The paper cost $10. So we debit work in process, intermediate, and credit raw
Oh,
materials.
dang, I'm tripping.
And yeah, we debit raw materials for paper. And so with the number we get is 300,000, multiplying the 30,000 units they bought by the amount that it costs for one unit of paper, which is $10. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and record the labor. So to get this number, we're gonna multiply the amount of hours the workers actually worked by their rate of pay. So they worked, if we scroll above, you can see that they worked 2,800 hours. So 2,800 times $10 per hour is gonna give us $2,800.
28,000.
$28,000. Okay, and the next one, we're gonna get the applied manufacturing overhead for them. To get that, we would debit work in process, intermediate, and credit manufacturing overhead. And if we scroll up above, we can see that he told us we would multiply their actual amount of labor hours that we said was 2,800 by the activity rate, which is 8. So 2,800 times 8, and we get that 22,400. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and post these in our T chart because we can't do the next one until we do the T charts for all 3 of those. So first we're going to do the work in process one for them. Or do you want to do the?
We could do the. You want to do the? What you?
I was
Want
going to
to
do
put the ink in?
Yeah, the ink
The
in.
raw material?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the ink, they had $600,000 worth of ink. Intermediate. And then we already have a credit for it because all 4 of those are going to total the comparison to that. Okay, now we're going to go on to work in process for intermediate. Okay, I forgot that part. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and input the transfers of materials and the actual manufacturing overhead and the actual labor hours that we paid the workers. So 600,000 for the ink, 300,000 for the paper, 2,800 for the amount we paid the workers, and then 22,400 for the actual manufacturing overhead for the intermediate book. All right, and then this is where we have to do a comparison of the amount of books that they were supposed to make by the amount of books they actually made. So they were supposed to make 15,000 intermediate books. But if you look at the numbers that he gave us of the ones that they actually completed, they only completed 12,000, which I believe is 80%. Yes. So we're going to get 80% of 600,000, 80% of 300,000, but we're going to keep the 2,800 because the workers were already paid. And we're going to keep the 2240 because the work was already done. They just didn't do as much as they were supposed to do. So that number is going to be $480,000 and $240,000. All right, and then we're going to total those out. That one's 950, 400. And then this one's 770, 400. And the difference is 180,000. Okay, so we're going to take that 770, 400, and we're going to grab that number and drag it all the way to our finished goods T-chart. For intermediate. And then now we're going to compare, we're going to get a new unit cost by comparing the amount of books that they actually completed to the amount of books they actually sold. So they actually completed 12,000 books. And we have to get a new unit cost. To get that, we're going to divide 770, 400 by 12,000, and we're going to get $64.20. That's the new unit cost. All right, and to get the other side, we're going to compare it to the amount of books they actually sold, which is 10,000 units. Multiply that by our new unit cost of $64.20.
Okay. I'm really about to like. Okay. Okay. Look, I ain't got time.
Yeah, so we're going to multiply the amount of actually by their new unit cost, and that gives us $642,000. Okay, and then you'll be able to see that that credit of finished goods matches the journal entry that we need up above. So if we drag it to the journal entry to finish the intermediate, oh wait, I'm sorry. The debit of the finished goods is what we need, which is the so we're going to debit finished goods intermediate and credit work in process intermediate. This number is going to be your debit from your finished goods side and your credit from your work in process T-charts. So if you don't know what it means, you can look at your T-chart and just drag the numbers from there. 770, 400.
Where is the back button? Cause
just press Control Z. Yeah.
all right.
All right, and then we're gonna do our sales journal entry. We're gonna debit cash, credit sales, and we're gonna multiply the amount of units actually sold, which is given to us, 10,000, by their selling price of their item it's in the assumptions that we calculated of 190. Wait, let me make sure that's right. I'm looking at the wrong one.
Oh, this is where we got that part wrong, cause this is where I got that part wrong.
Oh yeah, we fixed it. So it's 190.80. Yeah.
Wait, I don't think it was the 8 though. It wasn't the 8 because y'all told me not the 8. Remember?
About the advanced book.
So hold it. Let me go look up. Hold it.
Okay.
No, I'm too far. Nope, didn't move far. Got it right here. Oh yeah. Okay, 198. I'm talking about the next one. Okay. Back to business. I need me a mouse because this is cutting it. All right.
So we're going to multiply the amount of books that we sold by the selling price that was predetermined, and we get 1,908,000. All right, and then there's one more journal entry that needs to go in here that's not shown, so we have to create, and this is going to be the cost of goods sold and finished goods, stage 5. So we're going to debit cost of goods sold and credit finished goods.
I don't know how to put up a thingy up in there.
Okay.
I'm gonna just do this.
Yeah, finished goods, intermediate. All right, and if you think about it, this credit that we need to finish goods has already been calculated down below in our T-chart. So the credit of our finished goods intermediate is 642,000. 642,000. I can't even think anymore. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and post that number to our cost of goods sold T-chart.
Y'all get the idea of what I'm trying to do. All right, so we're gonna go down and try to post these.
There's a little plus button. That's how you get a new line.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me
If you drag it to the side of the chart on the left or right side. I just want to show you. You don't have to put it, but I think it's the right side. If you drag it over there a little bit more to the left. Okay, never mind. You can add, there's like a little plus sign that appears when you put your cursor next to the chart. Okay.
It's on mine. I can't do it on his though.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see. All right, so now we're going to do advanced.
Do we need to put anything else in the chart, or we did everything in the chart?
Oh, we need to put our cost of goods sold to the ledger.
Okay. What was the difference between these two?
It was 642. Oh, you're talking about the difference between those two? Finished goods intermediate, the difference was 128,400.
All right. And how much you put under the cost of it sold?
642 for the intermediate. Okay, so I forgot we haven't put our manufacturing overhead in the T charts yet. So I can tell you real quick. So we did the 210 on the debit side. We're going to credit one for each of the. We're going to credit each one for each book. So for principals, they had 17,600. And for intermediate, they had 22,400. Okay, so now we're going to do the journal entries for the advance. So we're gonna multiply the amount that he told us that they used for the advanced book, which was $30,000 for the ink. So we multiply 30,000 by 20 because that's how much it costs for 1 unit of ink. Credit work in process, advance, and the amount is going to be 600. All right, and then they got 20,000 units of paper at $10 each. So that number comes out to be $200,000 for the paper. Alrighty, and then we're gonna go ahead and record the labor that we paid the workers. So it says that they worked for 11,000 hours at $10 an hour. So we're gonna debit work in process, credit cash, $110,000. Okay, and then for the applied manufacturing overhead, we're going to take that same 11,000 hours of actual labor hours and multiply it by our POR of 8, and that number is going to be $88,000. All right, and now we got to go do our T charts to get the next one. Hey, Boyd, I have another class at 6, just letting you know.
Well, you know, you can always make a pass on to someone else.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I get my extra credit. Okay, so posting that to the T chart. $200. And then we're gonna do our work in process and cash for the amount we paid the workers. We paid them. I'm sorry, first we need to put the materials that we use. So 600 and 200.
You said
Oh, okay. I was telling you the number to put in on the debit side, but let me get that number real quick. So right there, we're comparing the amount they were supposed to make to the amount they actually made. They were supposed to make 10,000, but they made 8,000. All right, so they completed 80% of the books that they were supposed to make. So we're gonna go ahead and do our comparison of raw materials that they bought, that they transferred to the raw materials that they actually used to complete those 8,000 books. So 600 to 200. Our amount that they were paid was 110. And our manufacturing overhead for that was 88. On the other side, we have 80% of 600, which is 480, 160, and then we keep the overhead and the payment the same. Right, and then the total of those, 998, 100, 838, and the difference is 160. All right, so we're going to take that 838 and drag it all the way to our finished goods T chart to begin the comparison of the amount of books that they made to the amount of books that they sold. So the finished goods advanced, they have a 640,000. Okay, so right there, we're going to compare. They were supposed to make, they made 8,000, they only sold 5,000. And then to get our new unit cost, we're going to take that 640,000 from the work in process credit side and drag it here. No, it's oh wait, am I looking at the wrong thing? I have 640. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm lost. I'm so tired. Yeah, what she's doing.
all right. So the new selling price is
I'm forgetting that number. But I got 104.75.
All right. Oh, here we go.
And then we're going to multiply 104.75 by 5,000, the amount of books they actually sold. And we're going to get 523,750. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and close those out. The difference between those is 314,250.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take it to our T-chart. Our journal entries. Man, teaching is hard. I didn't know how hard it was.
For real.
You got somebody typing for you.
No, this is not what it is. I don't like this part.
Yeah. Okay, and then it's going to be 523,750. Oh, wait, no. 838. Okay, so we're going to multiply the amount of books they sold, which is 5,000, by their selling price. The selling price for the advanced book is $294. So 294 times 5,000 is $1,470,000.
Con and Jasmine, you all have the numbers for the tax book.
What you say?
You all have the numbers for the tax book.
Yeah, I did it yesterday.
Just give those numbers to them.
Okay.
Let them finish the advanced book, get their calls in, and then you all just give them the numbers for tax.
Okay.
Amen.
I need extra points for this too.
Yeah,
Trying to
beat the finish line so you all can get points for this problem.
All right, what was our cost for the advance?
It was 523,750. And I think we have to make a T-chart for that one too.
All right, let me go back down real quick. Get 523,750. All right, money team. Let's go back up.
And the manufacturing
Did you
overhead.
put the MO8?
Yeah, that one's going to be 8,800.
So Jasmine should kind of just give them the amount for the T accounts.
All right, I got it. Work in process.
Okay, wait. All right, go ahead.
5,000 and 4,000 at the top because that was the amount we had to sell or do, and then we did only 4,000. So 5,000 and 4,000 is what goes in red, and then it's gonna be 400,000. Oh, I have to do that first. All right, it's gonna be 400,000 on that side, 150,000.
You said 150?
150,000. 90,000. 72,000. Which is gonna give you 712,000. That's in the bottom.
Just put down the total amount of the credit. Don't do the individual ones.
90. Just put the total amount.
Yeah, the total one next to the 712.
602. 602,000. Which is gonna give you 110,000. And then a finished good tax. $4,000 and $3,000 at the top. $150 on both sides.
What was this number again?
Underneath there, oh my bad. The debit is 602,000.
602,000. And this, when we divide 4,000 and 604, we get 150.
150. You want me to give her the credit too before she solve it? Okay, the credit is gonna be 451,500.
You said 451 and 500.
And then both of those are gonna be 150. 150.50. 50 cents.
And this,
Let me I didn't subtract it after that.
150,000 and 500.
Yeah, 151. 151. It is 151. It's just 151, no 500. Wait, I might be wrong. Hold on.
Wait a minute now.
Yeah, 150, 500. My bad, Kiara.
150.
Huh?
150, 500.
Yeah.
150, 500. Yeah.
And then we're gonna take down.
Now we haven't worried about the journal entries. Let's go to the statements.
Okay. Okay, so our beginning inventory is 0. And then we think this is
No, we're gonna for this part we put the purchases that the company bought in the total section. So this line is gonna be empty.
oh yeah, right.
Oh, $3,100,000. And then the next one, we're gonna put the inventory, the ending inventory on both of our T charts for the raw material. So we had leftover 200,000 on one and leftover 50,000 on one. So our less ending inventory is going to be 250. And we're not putting them in the individual books because they share a T chart for raw materials. So they don't have their own individual one. But for the raw materials used, they each use a certain amount. So combined principals used $600,000 worth of paper and ink. So if you calculate your journal entries for the ink and the paper, you'll get 600. And then for intermediate, they use 900 combined of ink and paper, 900,000. And then the next one is 800,000. And that one's 550, 100. And then the total of that is going to be 285. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. $2,850,000. And then we know we did it correct because if you take the amount that they purchased and subtract it from the amount that they had left over, you're going to get the total that they used if you and everything adds up. So that top part is right. And then we're going to go ahead and input their labor that we get from the journal entries for each one. So for principals, they had 22,000. Intermediate had 2,800. I'm sorry, 28,000. $110. and then 90,000. All right, and then right here, we're gonna put their applied manufacturing overhead for each one that you would get from the journal entries. So principals had 17,600. And intermediate had 22,400. And then the next one was 88,000. And the next one was 72,000. Okay, and then so the totals for those two, it's going to be the $250,000 for the direct labor. And then for the applied overhead, it's going to be 200,000 added together. All right, and then total manufacturing costs. Let me see where to pull this number. I believe that this number is going to be, this is going to be the total that you have on the debit side in your work in process T chart for each one. So for principals, we have 693,600. For intermediate, we have 950,400. For advanced, we have 998. And then for the next one, we have 712. Okay, so the next line, the total of those, I got 3,300,000. Let me redo it just to make sure. Okay, actually, the number I got. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. Okay, 3,354,000. So that needs to turn into 354.
Yeah, if you look at your total columns, you got 2,850, 250, and 200. So it is 3,300,000.
Okay. And I don't know how I'm adding wrong, but okay. Yeah.
So someone else can check those individual columns, but 3,300,000 is probably correct, I think.
Okay. And then so the total for our less ending work in process, we would look at the excess from each T chart, and the total amount, if you add up all their excesses, will be 564 for the less end WIP. Okay, boys, so this is the part that we had a little bit of trouble on.
Why?
So I take my raw material used plus my direct labor plus my applied overhead, and that should equal the 3,300,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see if that actually does. Okay, so it's not what I got.
Wait,
Look at each work in
for
process.
these two?
Go to each work in process and see if the numbers are correct.
Okay.
Let's go to the T account for work in process.
Okay, you're saying that we added them wrong? Okay, so for the principals, let me redo that one.
Well, it's got 639, 600.
Oh, that's supposed to be
660,000.
114.
No.
Right?
Hold on, let me go back up.
114 for principals.
Now go back to principal's T account again. Work in process. So you had 639, 600 were your debits.
Oh, okay, I keep 600.
6,000 was left. So 579, 600.
Okay, so let's go check back up.
That one's right.
Now it's
That was right.
Yeah.
Put your ending work in process in.
this one right here. 579. Mm-hmm.
See, let's ending work in process. You got the 564, which are the right. Put the individual ones in. So what was the ending work in process for principals? Go to T account.
Oh, hold on.
So work in process for principals, you have what? 639, 6, yes, 60, and 579, 600. So bring those numbers up. Well, bring your 60,000 up. Well, wait a minute, 60. And how much do you have in the intermediate book? Go up a little bit, 180. Then let's look at advance. You have what, 88,000? And tax, you have what? Wait, go up one little bit. Wait, tax, you have 110 left. What's the last? Go back up to advance for a second. You have 160 in advance, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And then intermediate, you have what, 180? Okay, so go back up. Okay, so let's stop. Let's go the less ending work in process, 60,000 for principals. And wasn't 180 yet? Then 160 for advance and 110 for tax. So add those across and see what you get.
Okay.
Put the 0 on the tax to make it 110.
We get 510.
You get what?
510,000.
So subtract the 510 from the 3,300,000.
We get 2,790,000.
Okay, put it in there for now. 2,790,000. Is it 2,790,000 correct? Let's go back up. Let's go to the T accounts once again. Go to T accounts. Okay, go to principals. You took 770 and with 579,600 went out of principals. Go to intermediate. 770,400.
Yeah.
Advance 838. And what was tax? No, go up, go down some, get the file number and tax that you took out. 602. So put those, go back to your chart. Okay, so go up a little bit. Yeah. So put your cost of goods manufactured numbers in on the bottom. So 579,600. 770,400. 838. And 602,000. And add them across. See if you get that number.
Yeah. Yeah, we get 2,790,000.
And it's 3,300 minus 510, 2,790,000.
Is say that again?
Your total on the last column, 3,000,003 minus 510.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 2,790,000.
So at some point,
Okay.
you go through and check your sub numbers to make sure raw materials used, direct labor, and applied, that total manufacturing number to get to the 3,300,000.
Mm-hmm.
You added those across to get 3,300,000, correct?
Right.
Okay, so then you have to make sure all the sub numbers 693, 600, 950, 998, and 712 are correct. But we'll go with the 2,790,000. So what we're gonna do with the 2,790,000?
We're going to
Go to the next chart.
go to the next chart. Okay.
So we would need a total have to do the sales by each one.
Okay, for the principals,
goods. Then the cost of goods manufactured, less ending gives you the cost of goods sold. Then you subtract that to get your gross profit. So you got to put all of those numbers in.
Okay. I forgot that.
Those will be the sales numbers out of those journal entries.
Yeah, I forgot the advance, so I gotta go back down and see advance. Advance was 1,470,000. Oh, I'm tripping. Okay. Alright. And then we're gonna go and look at tax. Jacqueline, because I don't think we did that too.
Huh?
What was y'all sales again for tax? I know it was like
1,752,000.
Okay.
You heard me?
Okay, 1,752,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So put your tax number in.
Ooh, that's.
Put your total in.
You need help? Let me help you.
All right, so that's 6,084,000. So we had a beginning, finished up to 0.
Let's just go to the total. I'll let you do the other later. Put the 2,790,000 in.
Okay.
Can you copy that? Could you copy that across?
For as in like here under here?
Like cost goods, man. Could you copy the whole thing and bring it like I do?
Oh no, you don't have to do that.
Cause that's not. That's Excel. You in Word. That's why she can't do it.
Let me see. Okay, go. Let me go up.
You can do
From
that.
the other chart, you mean? I
Huh?
can just put it in. I know what the numbers are.
Now, why are you gonna say you can't do that in Word, Jasmine?
Because it mess up the lines. Trust me, I've done it.
I be doing it every day, you know.
But you do it in Excel, I thought.
No, I do it on this too in Word. You can do it in either one.
Well, I mess up the lines all the time.
So our less end finished goods was 96,600. 128,400. 314. 4,250. And 150,000.
Add them up.
Add these up.
We almost there. So if you add them up, how much is it?
689,000. Uh-oh. Days. $750. All right. And then I unadjusted.
Can you subtract those numbers out? Good.
Okay, 579. We get 483. We get 642. We get 523. And then we get 451. Okay, so these numbers look familiar because they on our cost of goods sold P account. All right, so we're gonna add these up.
So what's our unadjusted cost of goods sold?
2,100,250.
Okay. What's our over
All right.
underapplied overhead?
10,000.
Let's go look at that account right quick.
Okay. I don't think we finished it. Let me see.
Just go to overhead, see we got everything in there. Go to the overhead account. Finish the rest of it later. Okay, you need to put tax in. How much was your tax overhead, Jasmine?
I think it was 72,000.
72,000.
So add them all up.
That's two.
They add up to 200,000.
Yep.
So you were under applied. No, get rid of the. Okay. Yeah, we got to put 10 on the other side.
Oh no. We gotta put it on the other side?
Yep, because it's got to zero out. Remember I told you all that?
Oh, that's money talk right there. Okay. All right.
That zeroes out, correct?
Right. Yeah. Do zero out. Okay. So we gotta go back up.
Add that 10,000. Go up and add it.
Oh, see. All right.
So you add, it was under applied. So put the 10,000 there.
And then we add 10,000 for each one, right? All right.
No. Can't do that.
Oh, we add 10,000 to the unadjusted cost of the stuff.
So what's your, so add the 10,000 to the 2,100,000. So that's going to be
2,110,250.
So how much was your gross margin?
Our gross margin was, let's go back up. $2,790,000.
Yeah, your sales was $6,084,000. You're gonna subtract.
Oh, I'm tripping. I'm over here. Okay, yeah, I'm tripping.
So you're gonna subtract the 2,110,250 from it.
I get 679,750.
You get what?
679,750.
All right, go back up to the sales. That's your sales, 2,084,000. Okay. See that? The books cost you 2,001,000. So how much did you make? The sales was 6 million, cost was 2 million. How much did you make approximately? What's 6 minus 2? How much money did y'all make? Y'all don't know how much money y'all made?
What you said, Professor? I didn't hear you.
Okay. Your sales was 6,084,000.
Mm-hmm.
The books cost you 2,100,000. That's your cost of goods sold. The difference between sales and this number here is your gross margin. How much is that gross margin going to be approximately? Okay, y'all subtract
3 million, not 3 million. You said I'm doing it from the 6 million from the sales, right?
Correct. 6 million
From my
minus 2 million.
3,973,750.
You got that? Powell?
I think she gone. I know she right there.
Is she gone? Okay, let's see. So how much did you say? 3 million what?
3,973.
Okay,
903?
I'm back.
You
My
back?
phone thingy went out.
3 million what? Go ahead, type it in, Powell. Yeah.
973.
You got it now. Okay, 973 and what else?
750.
So that's how much money you made, Powell, not 200 or 300,000, okay?
Oh, and how did we get that?
Say what?
Got the
How did we get
sales,
that?
the
No, you
sales
said
price.
about 200,000. How much
You got-
money did we make on the tax book? So what you want to do would be to compare let me just put it in here. You sure I brought those numbers down?
Yeah.
How you did it? Copy and paste.
What? Yeah. What you said was impossible. Those are the sales. I'll bring these numbers here. I'm gonna copy them. I'm gonna paste them in here. So you can see how much you made on each book. So I just put them close together. So how much money did we make on the principal's book?
Hold on, calculate it.
974.
What was the sale price? I don't know the sale price.
I put the sales right above them.
My bad. At least I knew what to do. 387.
470.
How much?
387.60.
Okay, we'll put that in.
We subtracted, right?
Yeah, you subtracted.
Yeah, you subtract.
I got 471,000. 951 from.
My bad, it's 471,000. I don't
Put
know
it
what
on
the
the
heck.
line here for gross margin. Move it down one line.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, we made 470 on the principal book. How much we made on the intermediate book?
1,266,000.
We made some bank.
How much we make on the advanced book?
946,250.
So you see the prices make a big difference in terms of what you sell them at. And how much on the tax book?
1,300,500.
Okay. So if you add those across, you'll be off $10,000 because of the over under apply. So you would be off. But that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to see how much we made on each book. So we had 4 books. We wanted to see how much we made on each book. So y'all be ready to do that for a test on Tuesday?
Oh my God.
Not all of this?
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy. At least we got our points. Hey.
Oh, I got points for this too?
So we give points just to the people who left?
If you want to.
We'll see who all was here today.
I'm about to say
Yes.
Joanna was here because she did most of it.
Yeah, I'll just. So the key thing about all of this is that stuff where you come up with the selling price and everything, you need to be able to do that too. So you need to be able to calculate an activity rate and selling price. Okay?
Okay, don't forget to post that recording.
I will.
All right, then. I'll see y'all on Tuesday.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.
So you all have a good weekend, and we'll see y'all on Tuesday. And actually, we'll be probably looking at process cost accounting.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
All right, y'all have a good weekend.
Have a good night.